You are living in a world that is designed to fragment your mind. You feel it, don't you? That low-level hum of anxiety in your chest. The feeling that despite all your hard work, you are just spinning in circles, disconnected from any real divine purpose. We are told that life is random, that you are an accident. But what if the chaos in your life isn't a lack of luck, but a lack of alignment? There is an ancient code, a biblical truth written thousands of years ago that maps out the exact psychology of the human experience. It's not just a story about apples and snakes. It is the blueprint of reality itself. Today, we are opening the book of Genesis, not to preach, but to decode God's plan for your mental healing and success. Genesis 1:1. In the beginning, God created, but before the beauty, there was something else. Verse 2 says the earth was formless and void, and darkness was over the deep. Does that sound familiar? That is the state of the human mind without direction, formless and void. Most people live their entire lives in verse 2. They have potential, but it's covered in darkness. They are waiting for external circumstances to change. But spiritual warfare isn't just about demons. It's about the battle to bring order to your own internal chaos. God didn't wait for the darkness to leave. He spoke into it. He imposed order. This is the first law of Genesis. You are made in the image of a creator. That means you were not designed to merely survive chaos. You were designed to subdue it. If your life feels out of control, you have stopped speaking light and started accepting the dark. Let's talk about the snake. And no, I'm not talking about zoology. I'm talking about the voice in your head. The most dangerous lie in history wasn't eat the fruit. It was the question, did God really say? This is the root of all anxiety. It is the seed of doubt. Psychologists call it imposter syndrome or cognitive dissonance. Genesis calls it the fall. When Adam and Eve disconnected from truth, their immediate reaction was shame. They hid. How many of you are hiding right now? Hiding your talents because you're afraid of failure. Hiding your true self because you're afraid of rejection. The fall teaches us that when we disconnect from our source, we become obsessed with self. We start worrying about being naked, exposed, vulnerable, not enough. But here is the secret hidden in the text. God didn't shout at them. He went looking for them. Where are you? He asked. He knew where they were. He wanted them to admit where they were. You cannot heal what you do not reveal. If you want mental healing, you have to stop hiding from your purpose. Why are you unhappy when your friend succeeds? Be honest. We see this in chapter 4. Two brothers, Cain and Abel. Both offer a sacrifice. One is accepted, one is not. Cain isn't angry at God. He is envious of his brother. Jordan Peterson, a clinical psychologist, often talks about this story. He points out that Cain's reaction to his own failure was to destroy the ideal. If I can't be good, I will destroy the person who is good. Take responsibility for your own sacrifice. Stop looking at your neighbor's plate. We are diving deep today. And if this message is resonating with you, if you feel like you're ready to stop hiding and start building, do me a favor. Scroll down and comment Genesis below. It tells the algorithm that we need more truth and less noise. Now, let's get to the man who changed history by walking into the unknown. Comfort is the enemy of greatness. Genesis 12 begins with a command that terrified me the first time I really understood it. Go from your country, your people, and your father's household to the land I will show you. God told Abraham to leave his identity, his security, and his inheritance. For what? For a promise. This is the definition of faith. Faith isn't believing God exists. Demons believe God exists. Faith is movement in the face of uncertainty. You are waiting for a map. God gives you a compass. Abraham didn't know where he was going. Hebrews 11 says he went out, not knowing where he was going. Many of you are stuck in your top. You are stuck in a job you hate, a relationship that drains you, or a mindset that limits you. You are waiting for God to show you the destination before you take the first step. But the Genesis principle is clear. The blessing is in the going. You cannot steer a parked car. If you want the kingdom mindset, you have to be willing to look foolish to the world, to be faithful to the call. God took Abraham outside and said, "Count the stars." He shifted his perspective from his barren reality to a cosmic possibility. You need to look up. Stop looking at your bank account and start looking at the promise. But what happens when you do everything right and life still goes wrong? This brings us to the end of Genesis, the story of Joseph, betrayed by family, sold into slavery, falsely accused of a crime, thrown into a dungeon for years. If anyone had a right to be bitter, to be an atheist, to give up on God's plan, it was Joseph. But Joseph possessed a secret weapon, a perspective that turns victims into victors. He realized that his pain was a prerequisite for his promotion. When he finally stood before his brothers, the men who ruined his life, he didn't execute them. He wept, and he said the most powerful sentence in the Old Testament. You intended to harm me, but God intended it for good to accomplish what is now being done, the saving of many lives. This is the ultimate biblical truth. God does not waste your pain, your anxiety, your depression, your financial struggles. If you submit them to God, they become the raw material for your destiny. Joseph could not have saved the world from famine if he hadn't been in the pit. You cannot save others if you haven't survived yourself. Genesis isn't just history. It's your story. It's the story of order over chaos, faith over fear, forgiveness over bitterness. You are not a biological accident floating on a rock. You are a deliberate creation drafted by the architect of the universe. Look at your life today. Where is the chaos? Speak light to it. Where is the envy? Sacrifice it. Where is the fear? Walk through it. Because the God who started the work in Genesis is the same God who is writing the chapters of your life right now. And he is not done with you yet. If this deep dive shifted your perspective, you need to watch this next video on the psychology of job. It explains why bad things happen to good people. And don't forget to subscribe to Kingdom Mindset. We are building a community of believers who want the meat, not just the milk. I'll see you in the next one. Peace.